Reggie Miller is calling tonight's Game 5 pivotal between the Spurs and Clippers, 10:30 Eastern on TNT. Also, he'll be calling Game 6 as well, Clippers-Spurs on TNT on Thursday night. Reg joins us now. Hi, Reg.
Good morning, Daniel.
How big is this game tonight for both of these teams?
Well, it's huge, obviously, for both. Anytime you're in a scenario when it's 2-2, the winner of Game 5, for the most part, as I've been on both sides of that, when I've won Game 5 and gone on to lose the series, and obviously winning Game 5 and winning the series. So it's pivotal for both teams. If you were to pin me down and ask me who wins it tonight, it's too close because I can very well see San Antonio coming back to Staples and winning in impressive fashion like they did in Game 2. But the way the Clippers really manhandled that game in Game 4 down in San Antonio, the momentum has shifted back to Los Angeles. So, this is really up in the air. I know there's a couple things that both teams need to solve if they do want to win Game 5.
Yeah, you look at the Spurs, and I think we were, after they lost Game 1, then you had some people saying, this could be the end of the Spurs dynasty here. Then they win Game 2, then they win Game 3, they lose Game 4, now you got Game 5. We're still waiting for the Clippers to take that next step to play with the big boys, to play for a championship. What's more likely to happen? Are the Spurs ready for that next step? Could this be the end of the Spurs dynasty here coming up tonight?
We keep talking about that with the Spurs, and they keep surprising us. So I am not going to be one of those guys that say, yes, this is it, because every time you start to preview that, Greg Popovich and the Spurs surprise you. But I will say this for the Clippers. Game 4 was a huge step in the right direction for people saying, this is the Clippers that we've all been waiting for, because it was a huge game mentally for the Clippers. I thought before every other playoff game, watching the Clippers play, they were in games and they won big games, but being mentally focused for 48 minutes. Chris Paul looks like a different player, not just in Game 4, but throughout this series. You take away Game 3, this is the best I've ever seen Chris Paul play, being engaged, getting on teammates, and really like being in the zone. Because I think he's at the point in his career where he's like, look, guys, I've never been past the second round, and I'm actually tired. He's playing like he's saying, I'm tired of this. And he's been a different player. If he continues to play like this, I think the Clippers are headed in that direction, because the Spurs have absolutely no one, and that's including the Defensive Player of the Year in Kawhi Leonard, to check him, because he is that focused. He is that locked in.
Talking to Reggie Miller, NBA on TNT, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Is Chris Paul a tough guy, tough teammate?
I would love to play with him, if that's what you're asking. To me, he reminds me, he has the talents of Isaiah Thomas, and don't take this the wrong way, the dirtiness of a John Stockton. Because John Stockton, he wasn't a choir boy. To me, he's a hybrid of that, because he gives you little shots here, he gets on your teammates, he's very demanding, but he has the athleticism and the skill set of Isaiah, and Isaiah wasn't a choir boy as well, as we all know. So, look, the way he handles the basketball, those pick and rolls, he's the best mid-range shooter, point guard in the game. To me, he's a hybrid of both those Hall of Famers.
The Kelly Olynyk play with Kevin Love.
Not dirty. Not dirty.
Okay. I felt the same way, but I deferred to you guys who played the game.
I am surprised that he got one game. That you watch tonight's game, you're going to see Tim Duncan and DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin tussled up every single time there's a shot taken. That's what the big guys do. They lock arms with one another. Is it unfortunate that Kevin Love got hurt? Yes. But number one, Olynyk does not have the track record of being a dirty player, number one. You have to take that into account. And that's what big guys do. They grapple with one another. Is it unfortunate that Kevin Love got hurt? Absolutely. Is it a dirty play? Absolutely not.
If Kevin Love does not get hurt, does Kelly Olynyk get suspended for a game?
No, of course not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think you waited to see. Now, J.R. Smith,
there's a history there.
I would have given him more than 2 games, Reg.
I am shocked that he only got 2 games just because of his history. And I love J.R. Smith. I've loved what he's done since he's joined the Cavs. I thought he's brought a different dimension to that team. But to get 2 games on that, for instance, let's say that happened in Game 1 or Game 2, when this series would have been continuing and Crowder would have been out. Would it still have been 2 games? I think what factored in was the Celtics were done, the series was over, and it was only an MCL sprain. What if that would have been an ACL sprain? And he would have been out, the first 3 or 4 months of next year. Is it still only 2 games?
What if it happened during the regular season? Is it more than 2 games?
I was saying anywhere between 4 and 6. I heard Chuck saying 10. I think 10 would have been extreme.
I thought 5.
But I thought somewhere between 4 and 6.
Yeah,
would have been just. But come on, I mean, like Charles says, you just can't go around hitting people in the head. You really can't. And then I mean, here's what factored in too. To only get 2 games from the hit to the face, he kind of walked over him a little bit. And then as you're exiting, you're clapping to the fans. You have to – all that has to be in the gumbo pot when you're – whoever the dean of discipline is, I believe it's Rod Thorne. When you're looking at this, that all has to factor in. And to only get 2 games, I am shocked. But again, I will say this. I love what J.R. Smith is doing with the Cavs. I've always been a big fan, but to only get 2 games, it's a little head-scratching.
I don't like the hack of Shaq. We see this with DeAndre Jordan. But I you know what? I come at it from like 4 different angles here. Just get better at shooting free throws. It slows down the game. The game is boring when it happens. I know the league would like to try to do something. If I foul you intentionally, then I give you the ball back. I get all of those things. So aside from saying, DeAndre Jordan, make your free throws, how would you try to come up with something to modify this to make basketball more aesthetically pleasing than just grabbing somebody and sending them to the line?
I'm with the same schooling that you are. I don't like it. I mean, people should work on their free throws. That's my thinking. But if you want me to change it, if you want me to come up with something, you can only do it 2 to 3 times a game. And once you do it the 3rd or 4th time, then the coach can designate a free throw shooter. And for instance, if it was DeAndre Jordan, that would be Chris Paul or J.J. Redick would shoot the free throws, and you retain possession if you really want to stop it. But I'm from the old school, get in the gym and work on your free throws. I'm sorry. I mean, you're disrespecting yourself, who was a shooter, who came early and stayed late and worked on your shot, right, and worked on your free throws. Well, why can't the big guys do that?
Could you outshoot DeAndre Jordan blindfolded?
Blindfolded?
From the free throw line.
I would be better than 50%.
Well, then
I would be better than 50%. That's all I would say. I would be better than 50%.
Could you teach him to be a better free throw shooter?
Look, he has great form. Have you watched him shoot?
Yes.
His form is fantastic. I think it's more mental. But again, it's easy for me to say because I'm a shooter. You know, he would probably look at me and say, be a better rebounder, and he's absolutely correct. I mean, he has great form and technique in his rebounding and his shot blocking. I mean, you got to. But again, free throws are a part of the game.
Yep.
You just can't say, oh, you can't foul a person because they're a bad free throw shooter. What is that saying? So now DeAndre Jordan or Josh Smith or Dwight Howard, now they don't have to work on their free throws because they know they're not going to be intentionally fouled. And by the way, there's ways around this too. I could still foul someone and it just won't be intentional to send them to the free throw line.
Did you ever understand why Shaq couldn't shoot free throws?
I could not.
Because he would tell me that he said, Dan Patrick, I beat you in practice shooting free throws. And I said, well, make them in the game, Shaq.
Look, in Shaq's defense,
I don't miss in practice.
And I can only go by the times I played Shaq during the playoffs, which was 3 times, him winning twice. He made them against us. He made them against us when he had to. When he had to. When a game was on the line, he made them. During the course of a game, maybe not. But when he had to, he made them.
There's something about going to the line, though. You know, it's when it stops. Like, you like movement. Basketball's about movement. And then everybody stops, and you're at the line by yourself. And it has to do something to you psychologically. I'm going to guess some guys are bothered by if you were able to move. Some guys are better at golf if you yell, if there's noise, if it's quiet. Then they get nervous about it. I don't know if that's the case from the free throw.
Well, it's funny because, I'm sure in golfers' perspective, when they're doing their practice rounds or working on their game, it's loud. People are talking. People are having normal conversations. When you get to a tournament, everyone has to be quiet. So I think it's a change. So I think that's why those golfers probably want the noise, because that's how they practice. Probably the same. Look, when you work out in basketball, it's noisy in a gym. You're talking. You're going through your normal processions. When you go to a free throw line, other than when you're on the road, it gets quiet. And maybe they're just not accustomed to that.
Yeah. I was watching Golden State play my boy Anthony Davis the other night. And you know what I love about Golden State that I think it's overlooked? They make the extra pass. There were 6 times I watched, Reg, where they had good shots and they had great shots with an extra pass. They can play defense. I mean, I don't know what they don't do well. And I know a jump shooting team doesn't normally win a championship here, but they do a lot of different things. When you watch them.
What's funny when you say that, because there is no stat for this, but I guarantee you between them and maybe San Antonio, have you ever heard of the hockey assist, the assist that leads to the assist?
Yeah.
They probably lead the league in that. One person will have a good shot. They'll pass that shot up to assist another person. And they probably lead the league in hockey assists because, bottom line, it's all about getting the best shot. And, hey, let's give all the credit to Steve Kerr for, to me, revamping that offense, because it's a hybrid of that motion offense from the San Antonio Spurs and from his days with Phil Jackson in the triangle. It's a little bit of both. But a lot of credit has to be to the bigs, Draymond Green and Andrew Bogut. When you have two great passing big men, it makes that offense click, because now you can put Klay Thompson and Steph Curry on the baseline and just let them go crazy without the basketball, and you've got 2 passing big men who can hit those backdoor cuts.
Have fun tonight, Reg. We'll be watching, and we'll talk to you soon.
Theodore, you are truly the best. Love you, Danette.
Thank you, Reg. You can see Reg tonight, Spurs-Clippers Game 5. That'll be at 10:30 Eastern on TNT.